So, as I mentioned last month, our theme is reaching higher, and I believe that's what we're always doing on our spiritual walk as we're trying to learn about life and living it from a better place. We're always reaching higher. I often teach and talk about life as kind of like a spiral staircase that we're climbing. And each time we go around the circle of the staircase, we encounter similar lessons and similar situations and similar people that present similar challenges. Don't you see that pattern in your own life? Have you ever noticed that you repeat situations and opportunities seem to come around in a pattern? And that's the staircase I'm talking about, because the idea is that when we're faced with those patterns of experiences and it's time to make a choice again, we've grown around the circle so much that we make a better choice the next time. And boy, do we need to climb the staircase right now as a human race. It seems like there's so much changing, and with change comes fear and uncertainty, and the differences are magnified. So, I want to start off with a short reading by the civil rights theologian and author Howard Thurman, and let's see if he has something to lend to this occasion that we find ourselves in. He writes, "Look well to the growing edge." I'll repeat that statement. Look well to the growing edge. All around us, worlds are dying and new worlds are being born. All around us, life is dying and life is being born. The fruit ripens on the tree. The roots are silently at work in the darkness of the earth against a time when there shall be new leaves, fresh blossoms, green fruit. Such is the growing edge. It's the extra breath from the exhausted lung, the one more thing to try when all else has failed, the upward reach of life when weariness closes in upon all endeavor. This is the basis of hope in moments of despair, the incentive to carry on when times are out of joint and men have lost their reason, the source of confidence when worlds crash and dreams whiten to ash. The birth of the child, life's most dramatic answer to death. This is the growing edge incarnate. Look well to the growing edge. Wow, Howard Thurman, he can write some words. And the line that kind of snags my heart is when he says, the growing edge is the incentive to carry on when times are out of joint and men have lost their reason. The incentive to carry on. I think he might be talking to us right now, actually. I do feel like worlds of understanding and meaning are dying. And sometimes it's hard to remember that new worlds of understanding and meaning are being born right now. It's hard to remember that. The truth is, people are dying and new people are being born. And some of that dying and birthing happens within one lifetime, right? Don't you have aspects of yourself that have died and been reborn? Within ourselves, we are all dying a little bit and birthing a little bit every single day, and that's that growing edge. Whenever there is death or endings, there is always birth. And here's the deal, it's important to know in which direction we are birthing ourselves. The question of the day is, what is your growing edge? What is our growing edge as a society? What's our growing edge as a community right here in this room? How are we growing? In my long career before I became a minister, I did a heck of a lot of interviewing and hiring, because for many years I had, like, I don't know, 15 managers or so beneath me, and then they were all building teams. So I was always interviewing. And I usually would only see the final candidate. So they were all qualified for the job. It was just which is the right person on the team. And so I didn't want to ask them questions that answered in interviews before me. So I always tried to be a little bit creative with the things I asked. And I wanted to know more about who they were as a person more than could they do the job. The other people had decided they could do the job. So one of the questions that I would often ask is the same one I just asked you. What is your growing edge? I wanted them to share with me how they were continuing to learn and evolve as an individual. And sometimes their answer would be related to work or projects or whatever, but the more interesting answers to me were when they would share that they were learning to appreciate the bigger stuff of life. Things like balance and equality and tolerance and integrity. Because when those kinds of words came up in the interview, I knew that the individual sitting in front of me was very curious about their inner world, their inner life. They weren't just exploring the nuts and bolts of everything happening out here, they were growing inside. They weren't just trying to impress me in the interview, they were thoughtful in their answer. Bottom line, I wanted to hire people who were self-aware enough to know that we should always be learning and always be growing. And what I know is that if here we are interested in ascending spiritually as a community of seekers, that's what we want. Our growing edge is also about exploring our inner stuff. Learning about spirituality is about expanding our understanding and application of the stuff that we teach around here. We're trying to better our own lives, yes, as individuals, but we're also growing for the collective good of the planet, of humanity. And if we're going to climb the staircase of transformation, we have to let old things die and new things be born. So to identify our growing edge, I thought it might be helpful to identify our comfort zone. Roy T. Bennett, he wrote this book called The Light in the Heart, and he writes a lot about comfort zones. Here's what he said. The comfort zone is a psychological state in which one feels familiar, safe, at ease, and secure. You never change your life until you step out of your comfort zone. Change begins at the end of your comfort zone. So if we're going to ascend the staircase and rise higher, we have to let go of the stair that we're standing on right now comfortably, right? So let's say that you're currently in your comfort zone. If you've created your comfort zone well, you're feeling like things are familiar and safe and easy and secure. You have your routine groove kind of well carved out in your daily activities. You run in circles of people and you participate in experiences that's your comfort zone. And think about this. If nothing changes, are you satisfied in your current zone of comfort? If the edge is never moved, is the circle you're existing in, is it allowing you to feel as your best self, or does it feel too small? Are you being called to reach higher and push out and climb one more step? So how did you get to this comfort zone? How'd you get here? One way to look at it is that everything that's inside your comfort zone right now are the things you already love based on your past, right? You've created your comfort zone by making choices in the past to love and embrace the people and things and spaces surrounding you right now. And your freedom of movement expands all the way to the edge of those things. And on the other side of that edge, on the other side of the edge of your comfort zone are two things: the unknown and the things you've already cast out of your comfort zone sometime in the past, right? So I like to say that we are the judgiest of judgy people. We are so judgy. As we're going through our life, ho-de-do-de-do, we run into things and we pick them up and we say, oh, this is good or this is bad. This is right or this is wrong. This is for me or this is not for me. This is safe, this is dangerous. Do you see what I'm saying? We're sorting everything out. And it's like we have a rope that we place between what is ours and what is not ours. There's the rope. And we are constantly picking up the edge of the rope and encircling more things. And we're also constantly picking up things inside the rope and pitching them out, right? Throwing them out. They no longer feel comfortable and safe. Out they go. What we're essentially doing is asking constantly, based on the past, is this going to be a part of my future or not? Based on what I experienced about this thing already, am I casting it out or am I pulling it closer to me? The rope is the line of demarcation. Our growing edge is wherever that rope lies. That's our growing edge. Inside the rope, we can move freely and securely and safely. Inside the rope, we're consistently loving and positive and balanced and harmonious. Inside the rope, we're peaceful. But for many, many people, that rope creates a very tiny circle. If everything inside the rope is peaceful, it's a pretty small circle, right? Most people have only a few other people inside their rope because everyone else has been cast out. Most people only have a few places inside their rope because they want to avoid any place that makes them uncomfortable. Most people only have a few activities inside their rope because if they don't do something well the first time, they don't keep it inside the rope. They don't want to try it again. You laugh, it's true though. Most people are very cramped inside their rope because the rope is about love and acceptance. And they're only looking at life from the ego perspective, right? The human egoic perspective basically says that anyone or anything that challenges my survival or my sense of being comfortable is bad. It says I'm fragile and I must be protected. The spiritual perspective, on the other hand, says I am an eternal being having this juicy, messy, complicated human experience, and that experience deepens my consciousness of love and awareness. So bring it on. That second sentence makes me breathe a little easier, right? Because our entire purpose here as spiritual beings is to keep expanding the rope, expanding our circle of our comfort zone to grow our edge. My talk title today is Edgy Love because my invitation to you is to walk right up to the rope, right up to your rope, put your toes right up against it, on that edge. Everything outside your rope, outside your acceptance, outside your comfort zone is begging for your love and acceptance because, take a deep breath, everything outside of your rope is also God. All of the people that you've judged as unlovable, they are also breathing the breath of the divine. And they're in your life and on this planet for a holy purpose. All of the situations that make you uncomfortable and squirmy, those are also yours to shine your light upon and learn from and embrace. All the things that you've outgrown and thrown outside the rope, they're yours to appreciate for what they taught you. All of it is part of the whole, all of it. And all of it is part of your life in this moment. Love is the self-givingness of universal spirit. We talked about that in our belief statement. God's energy is vibrating inside your rope and outside your rope. And if spirit is going to have full reign in your daily life, love is its request. Love is what it desires. You know, from this perspective of the science of mind, we're all one. And when we embody and we live that principle of unity, we live from love. When we get confused in our world of experiences, and we do, we think and feel that we're separate, and we do. And from that thought, we place our judgments between what is good and what is bad. That's where that rope lives, our comfort zone that keeps us trapped and small, and we crave freedom. So stand right on the edge of your rope. Stand right there. What and who is on the outer side, the other side, out of reach of your love and acceptance? As you look outside your circle, I invite you to know that everyone and everything out there is asking for you to bring it in. Bring it in to the oneness and unity of life. Everyone and everything out there is asking for your love. All of it is outside your circle for your growth along the edge. One practice is to keep looking over the edge of your rope and continuously bringing more and more inside your circle of love. A higher practice is to eliminate the rope altogether. What if we didn't judge anything as good or bad, but instead reached an understanding that it all has a purpose in this moment? Everyone and everything has a purpose. I may not understand the purpose. I may be baffled by the purpose. I may prefer that things not be the way they are, but my preferences are not necessarily aligned with the biggest perspective. When you consider not having a rope at all, your comfort zone disappears. The world is your comfort zone. Your entire life is your comfort zone. You are a spiritual being experiencing everything human beings experience. And learning to love all of it is the edgiest kind of love there is. So I want to tell you a real story, because I know y'all like stories. Tell you a story about two people who encountered some edgy love on the subway in New York City on June 13th, 2013. So one character in our story's name is Laine, and she was a commuter on the subway. So she's used to there being delays and all kinds of things on the subway. If you ride the subway every day, you get that. Paquita Williams, the other person in our story, was the conductor on the train that Laura was riding that day. And it was a stormy day outside. And suddenly the subway plunged into darkness without any electricity for 2 hours. They were stuck on the train. So Paquita knew, the conductor knew, that there would be passengers on the train that would be very nervous and afraid in the dark in the subway. And so Laura said that Paquita came into her particular subway car to reassure people. And someone said, "It's Friday the 13th. And Paquita reminded the passengers that there were people who did not live to see this Friday the 13th and would probably be happy to be on this train, stopped or not. And everyone laughed, and Paquita started to move on. But Laura asked if everyone on the train was usually this nice during situations like this. And Paquita assured her that there were plenty of people who blamed her for the power outage or blasted her when the fare increased or anything happened on the subway, but that what she wanted to do was just comfort other people who might be afraid. She went on to explain that once, many years ago, she had been frightened at the dentist office and asked the dentist to hold her hand while he gave her an injection. And the dentist's reply was, "I am not your date." And that struck her. And she vowed that day she would always do her job in a way that helped passengers when they were afraid. And today was one of those days. "If they need me to hold their hand, I am there," she said. Laura said that after Paquita moved on, everyone on the train began to connect with each other and talked to pass the time until the power came back on. And as the train started to move again, someone said, "Well, this was fun. Same time, same place tomorrow?" Come on in and have a seat. I have ridden the New York subway many times, I'll tell you. And for the most part, people don't speak to each other on the subway. They're always wary of strangers. And these two women were willing to reach across their ropes of differences and their roles to connect. And it changed everything for everyone on the train in that situation that morning. And both women could have been numb to that opportunity, but both rose to it instead. So have you ever been in a situation like that when you were surrounded by the unfamiliar, out of your comfort zone, and been challenged to step to the edge of it and practice love? Isn't every day a little bit like that? Every day. So right now, with everything we've got going on, we often find ourselves in situations where we may not know what is ours to do. Can you relate to that? You just don't really know what yours to do. We're not certain that any action we take will be received in the way that we mean it to be or intended. We're afraid that our words will be heard in a spirit different than that which we are offering. You know, the passengers on the train with us may be angry or blame everyone around them for their discomfort or delay. And perhaps you feel that way too. But can we still show up as loving light beings? Can we rise higher? So my invitation to you and to myself today is to stay edgy with love. Our practice is to stay present in any situation we find ourselves in and relax into it. And notice when we get to the edge of our comfort zone and go just a little bit further and love. To stop having an opinion about what is happening and simply play our role with as much loving energy as possible and look for how we can contribute to the moment in a positive way in that moment. If we're going to reach higher, if we're going to go up the staircase and transform, we've got to love bigger. There is no us and them to God. There is no rope. There's no comfortable and uncomfortable. There's only one. There's only love, and our entire lives are designed to experience and express that in every situation we're in. Because when we reach higher, we have the possibility of accessing greater joy and peace, because as our vibrations rise, as we climb this transformational staircase, we tap into more of the good stuff that's always available in every situation, but we've got to look where it lies, and it lies higher. But if we're hiding in our comfort zone, staying safe behind our ropes, trying to decide whether it's okay or not to be ourselves, we're missing the lesson. We're missing it. So I'm going to close with a quote from Eckhart Tolle, who I love, and he makes this very point. He says, "The key to transformation is to make friends with this moment. What form it takes doesn't matter. Say yes to it, allow it, be with it." And so it is. And so it is. Thank you.